Making decisions under uncertainty is really hard. And it's even more challenging in conflict settings. Last year, 1 billion people were affected by conflict. That's roughly 1 in 8 of us. Yet so many organizations are still using what just happened to decide their planning, rather than anticipating what's most likely to happen next, which is especially challenging given the current funding situation. That's why at EconAI, we help organizations look ahead. Since 2021, our flagship project, Conflict Forecast, has been providing open-source monthly predictions of conflict risk, both at the national and the subnational level. We do this using, amongst other features, text from over 10 million news articles. But forecasts alone don't change outcomes. The real challenge lies in making use of predictions to effectively inform decision-making. That's why we don't just build models. We help you combine our forecasts with your own data and your own priorities in order, for example, to calibrate forecasts to inform early warning systems or to estimate the impact of different policies. If done well, this can have a huge impact. For example, with the FCDO, we adapted our conflict forecast to a 3-year planning horizon in order to identify countries that were currently peaceful but might be at risk of conflict. Why? Because preventing conflict really pays off. In fact, with a recent paper with the IMF, we estimate that spending $1 on conflict prevention might lead to returns as high as $103. That's now informing the World Bank strategy. It's also been cited by the UN Security Council. But it's not just about saving costs. It might also be about saving time. For example, in the context of the Central Emergency Response Fund, where we adapted our existing forecasts to build an early warning system, and we found out that funding could have been dispersed up to 3 months earlier. And you can imagine the kind of impact that can have in crisis settings. What we found across our projects is that it's not about reinventing the wheel. We have to use the forecasts that are already there in order to inform decision-making and adapt them to the operational context of the individual organizations. For example, with the WFP, we're adjusting our conflict forecast and our internal displacement forecast to anticipate food insecurity. That's currently being piloted in Somalia and might save country offices up to $1 million. With 10 years of experience in anticipating crises, our team sits at the intersection of cutting-edge research and real-world policy making. Right now, we're raising funds in order to improve our forecasts, specifically to make better use of our text corpus through generative AI models, which will help us become more precise, especially with our subnational models. At EconAI, we're working towards a world in which organizations can move from being reactive to being a lot more proactive, and we would be delighted to accompany you on that journey. Thank you so much.